Breakneck through the Bible 2017-2018, class number 20. Alrighty, welcome. A couple exciting events coming up. First of all, I'm going to be doing a two-part series on how to lead a Seder. That's going to be this coming Wednesday night and Wednesday night, March 28th. Okay, so that's going to be two classes. It's going to be at 8 o'clock at Congregation or Torah, 6324 Churchill Way, How to Lead a Seder. That's going to be on, again, this Wednesday night, and 2 weeks' time, March 28th. Actually, and then on March 21st, we're having a special speaker come to town, Mr. Charlie Harari, who actually spoke at the Dada dinner. He's going to speak about his new book, Unlocking Greatness. It's going to be at Levine Academy, and I'm not sure exactly what time that is. It's either 7:30 or 8 o'clock. So just look for details on that. And then the holiday of Passover is coming up right around the corner. We'd love to have you all join us. Those of you that are joining us online, we'd love to have you as well. So just let me know if you'd like to join us over Passover. There are 8 meals over Passover. The Passover starts Friday night, March, I think 30th. It's going to be Friday night, Passover Seder combined, and then you have the Shabbos Day Seder, the Shabbos Day meal, and you have the second Seder Saturday night, and then Sunday day is again the second day of the holiday, and then the last day of the holidays are Thursday night and Friday, and then Friday night and Shabbos. So that's going to be there. My parents are actually going to be joining us, so it's going to be quite exciting. My sister and brother-in-law and family, so just have a wonderful time, and we'd love you all to come join us. Going to have an epic Seder, something to be remembered. Come watch as we split the sea. Oh, sorry, just kidding. Okay. Alrighty, so we ended off last week in middle of chapter 3. Okay, so we're middle of chapter 3. We're in the story of where God goes ahead and says to man, right? He kind of shows up, and man is refusing to accept responsibility. Right? So what does God do? So he goes, right? Rustles the tree, and man goes, "Oh God, quick!" And instead of saying, "We're so sorry, God," instead man goes ahead and goes diving underneath the bushes, with the feet sticking out, and says, "You can't see me, God, ha!" Right? Right? God, you can't see me, right? I gotta. It's if it wouldn't be so tragic, it would be funny. Right? Right? It would be to me, it's such, like the story, I can't even understand. Like I have a hard time wrapping my head around it. Like it's such a crazy story, right? That like I just find it like so bizarre. Like how they can think they can hide from God, but they do. Right? And they go ahead and they try to hide from God. And God says, and God goes, "Man, hello, anyone? Hello. And he says, Ayeka, where are you? And what do our sages teach us about the word Ayeka, where are you? It's equivalent to the word Echa, or Lamentations. And God says, whoa, right? How can it be that you don't know where you are? Right? And if you don't know where you are, right, then it leads to Echa, then it leads to Lamentations, then it leads to woe, right? Because then it's something that is something truly terrible, right? Is because if we don't know where we are, we ain't gonna get where we're going, right? And that's really what it is. It's kind of, this is really the paradigm of man. God is teaching man, if you don't know where you are, right, then nothing's gonna help you, right? Then it's Echat's Lamentations, right? That's truly a something to lament about. And it says to man, where are you? Okay, so now we're up to verse number 10, chapter 3, verse number 10. Okay, Kenny, you worked so hard to get us plugged in. Take it away.
Okay, he said, I heard this...
Okay, let's start from verse 9, just to get there.
Start from verse... It's page 17.
Page 17, right. Page 17, chapter 3, verse 9.
God pulled out the man and said, where are you?
Page 17.
Page 17.
Oh, you on Monday.
Yeah. Okay, you're trying to jump us ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So he said, I heard the sound of you in the garden. I was afraid because I am naked, so I hid. And he said, I told you you are naked. Have you eaten from the tree from which I commanded you not to eat?
Okay. Again, so what does man answer to God? He says, right, I heard the sound of you in the garden. I was afraid because I am naked, so I hid. And what does it mean, I am naked? What does it mean, man, when he says I am naked? What does that mean?
He's exposed.
Well, it's in physical form as opposed to spiritual.
Okay, so what does it mean, I am naked? How does that fit the words, I am naked? What changed from before he ate till after he ate?
Now he's become aware of his bodily parts.
Well, not aware, but he's become...
Ashamed or embarrassed.
Why?
Because before they all served a function, it was just another...
Okay, but more than that, not just that they served a function, but before that, when you saw Adam and Eve walking, what did you see?
Just a light.
Just a light. So now all of a sudden their body became more concrete, physical, because they ate from the physical world, right? They ate from the wrong. And so what happened was they said, I am naked. What does it mean, I am naked? You could see my hand now. Before you just saw a light. But now you see a body. So now you see the body. Why am I ashamed? It doesn't mean they're ashamed of their private parts. What are they ashamed of? Any part of their body. Because every part of their body screams, I sinned, I'm physical, I become physical rather than being a spiritual being. Right? I'm connecting with the wrong half of me. So they were ashamed of their body, right? Because now, I'm ashamed of I'm ashamed of my body, right? Because when you can see my body, that means that I've become too much attached to the physical and not enough attached to the spiritual. Right? So now let's reread verse 10 again.
He said, I heard the sound of you in the garden, and I was afraid because I am naked, so I hid.
Right? I'm afraid because I am naked, right? Because all of a sudden, right, like I now have a physical body, so I hid. Right? It makes a lot of sense.
No, because you can't hide from God.
Because again, right, again, right? How could you hide from God? So verse number 11.
And he said, who told you that you were naked?
Who said?
Pardon me?
Who's the he?
God.
God, right? Okay, good. And God said, right?
Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree from which I commanded you not to eat?
Okay, God is giving man one last chance to own up to this.
Say I did it.
Right.
Can I say something?
Yeah, well,
Until now, he hasn't been questioned. Now he starts questioning him.
who?
God starts questioning
Whoa. God is entering into conversation with him, giving man the opportunity to own up to their mistake.
Right.
Right? That man can say, right? That man could go up and man can say, I made a mistake. It is me. I own it. I made a mistake, and therefore, God, please forgive me. Right? That's what we're waiting over here. Right? We're waiting over here for man to say, it's me.
But this is not just any mistake. This is a big mistake.
It is a big mistake.
It's a big mistake that the whole entire world is going to pay for it.
No. What's the big mistake?
Lying.
He passed the line.
What?
Not
Lying
telling
to
what
God?
he did.
No.
Big mistake to eat when he was told not to.
Okay, that's what started it. But is that really what it's all about?
I think it comes back to not owning your sin.
So what should man have said?
I did.
I did it, and
I'm sorry.
and I'm sorry. If man would have said, I am so sorry, God, I made a mistake and I ate from the tree that you told me not to eat from, what would have been God's response?
Forgiveness.
Okay, forgiveness.
Okay, tshuva. You return to God. God would say, I love you, dear. You're fantastic.
But if that happened, we never have a teshuvah for the rest of our lives anymore.
We wouldn't need to because we completed tshuva at that point in time.
No, but the whole beauty of this religion is to have a teshuvah.
That's right. So they could have.
Nothing in life is perfect. Nothing in life is perfect.
Right, so they could have achieved at that point in time, they could have achieved teshuvah. Right? If they would have just said, I am so sorry, God, for what I did, and please forgive me, at that point in time, God would have said, fantastic. Okay, beautiful.
But the world would go on like the way it's going on now.
The what?
The world would
No. We would have gone straight into the Messianic era. Because man would have accomplished their mission. And instead of the last 5,778 years of world that went on, right, till we bring Mashiach, till we go into the Messianic era, we would have gone straight into the Messianic era.
Okay, but then what after that?
Messianic era, so then we have to go, then we have to reverse the process. Right? We have to then become total, till we become total spiritual beings.
Oh, I think I like the way you're doing that.
I'm glad you like it.
No, you know, then there will be no life. Life has up and down. I mean, good and bad. Everybody has
Right.
good and bad, but that's life.
You need to, okay, so but what's the key about life?
To be godlike.
To be godlike. And not just the good and bad, because we can make mistakes. So human beings is about making mistakes. Right? Judaism not even says don't make a mistake. Judaism just says own your mistakes. Right? If you make a mistake, say you're sorry and fix it. There's nothing that stands in front of tshuva. Right? You could go do tshuva and the world will be fine. But you have to remember to say I'm sorry. Right? And to own it. Right? By ducking the responsibility, that doesn't work.
If Adam have a choice to fight with Epstein,
Sure.
I mean, like,
And he lost big time. He got body slammed. Remember, Adam ate from it because he said, let me internalize the evil inclination and then I'll overcome it. Right? Adam was doing it in a way, in a place of where he was saying, right, I could go ahead and I could internalize the evil inclination and then still listen to God. And what did he do? He internalized it, and what did he do?
He took his own choice.
And he did not internalize it. That's exactly what happened. And yet instead of going ahead and instead of owning, right, instead of doing what he had planned to do, he lost it.
But he gave us choice afterwards.
We know we were created with choice. That's already in chapter 1. God created us in His image. It means we have free will. It means we can choose. Until today, that's the one thing we control is the choices that we choose to make. Not the choices that we make, it's the choices that we choose to make. And the choices that we choose to make is what it's all about.
They continue to, I mean, they compounded the error coming up.
Who?
Adam and Eve.
You're right, that's what I'm saying. Right, they didn't just stop there by eating from the tree. Now we started sinking further and further in. Right? Now we started going to the place of where, oh my gosh, right? Like it's we're now denying God. I'm saying, God, you don't exist. And that's that's like right,
If
that's
God didn't exist, then wouldn't need to hide. So
right. But we're saying God doesn't, right? God, you don't know what goes on. I can hide from you in this world, which is fascinating. How many people think they can hide from God?
lots.
Lots. You should know. It's very fascinating. You should know who's worse. There's something called the Ganav, who steals. Like he goes around like sneaking around in the height, and then there's the Gazan. He's the stick-up man. Walks in there, takes his gun out, and says, "Give me your money." Who's worse, the Ganav, the thief, or the hold-up man?
The sneaky guy.
Why the sneaky guy?
Because he thinks no one can see.
Because the sneaky guy says, nobody can see me, right? Including God. The sticker man says, to heck with God, to heck with people, right? Right? But the thief says, well, I gotta hide from man, but I don't have to hide from God, right? So the thief is worse than the sticker man. You know, when you think about it, you always think the sticker man is worse, but at least he's being honest. Right. The thief is the one who's kind of like who's creating this kind of like, okay, I can hide from you, God, you know, right? I'll have to hide from people, and God, you won't see me either, right? He's the one that shows he's afraid of people, but not afraid of God.
So what the Talmud says that sin in secret is the separation of God's name, and it is severely punished.
And it's what?
Severely.
Yeah. Somebody who does that, sure. Right. That's exactly what's happening. Right. He's saying right? That's what I'm doing, right? Right? I'm right. I'm denying, right? I'm denying God, right? I could kind of just, sneak around, right? Okay. So man says, right? So when he says, right, who told you naked? If you eat from the tree which I have commanded you not to eat, right? So what happens at that point in time?
He says, not me.
It's not me.
Not
Right, okay.
fault.
No, okay, sorry.
It's not my fault.
Right. So okay. So verse number 12. Now verse number 12 has one of the greatest lines ever. Okay, go ahead.
The man said, the woman whom you gave me to be with, she gave me of the tree and I ate. So
Oh.
not only does he blame God for giving Eve,
Right.
he says she did it too.
No. Right. She gave me of the tree. No, she didn't say she ate it too. Right. The woman who gave to be with me, she gave me of the tree and I ate. Right.
Yeah.
So what does man do? Does he accept responsibility?
No.
Not a shot. Right. Right. We said again. What was the first sin? Was that right? If they would have just said, God, I'm sorry. Right. God would have said, okay, no problem. Stay in my garden. Let's work this out. Man doesn't do that, right? And that's the reason he gets thrown out. He gets thrown in the garden because he can't accept responsibility. But God doesn't just let him not accept responsibility. Now man goes and digs himself even deeper. And what does he say?
You gave me
It's your
Eve,
fault.
and she
It's
gave
your
me
fault,
of
God, right? Now listen to this. What does he say? The woman that you gave to be with me. Now, by the way, let's go back to the story in chapter 2. Who asked God for a mate? Did God give it to man, or did man say to God, where's my mate?
Man asked.
Man asked from God. So man says to God, why did you give me her? You knew she'd mess me up. You should have listened to me. You understand what man is saying? Right? You do understand this? And by the way, the Talmud goes bananas over this statement. They're incensed. They're infuriated. You know why? Because man is what the Talmud calls a kafui tova. You know what it means to be kafui tov? Kafui tov means that you reject the good that has been done to you.
Already from there.
And the Talmud says such a person who can't recognize the good that somebody has done to them is terrible. And what man does, man asks God, it says, "Where's my companion? I need a companion. I need a helpmate." And God says, "Fine, I'll give you one." And then man turns around to God and says, "The woman that you gave to me, God." Right. The Talmud says at this point in time, man was kafui tova. They're rejecting the good that was done to them. And when you reject the good that has been done to you, the Talmud says, horrible. Horrible. We're afraid to admit that somebody did something good for us. You know why?
Because we don't want to need.
Oh, okay, no, more than we don't want to need.
You owe.
I owe them. And if I say somebody did something good for me, right? So what does that mean?
I'm indebted to you.
It means I'm indebted to you, right? And if I'm indebted to you, what does that mean?
You have to pay back.
I can't treat you right. I owe you something. How many people in our lives should we be indebted to that we refuse to acknowledge that debt?
Probably everybody.
It's fascinating. Everybody's probably the right answer, right? But it's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing.
Well, I have a question. In the Garden of Eden, they had everything they wanted.
Correct.
But he still asked for something.
Oh,
Why?
right? No, which was fine. Let me tell you something. There is nothing wrong with asking God for what you need. Nothing. Zero wrong. Not only is it zero wrong, it's the appropriate thing to do. I learned with a guy who was quite wealthy. I said to him, "Do you ever pray?" He says, "I really feel God asking for things from me. I have everything I need." He says, "So I don't want to bother God for things that I have already." I said, when I pray for other people, I pray to, and he's a wonderful person. So I said to him, "You're making one mistake." I said, "You think you have everything?" I said, "You actually have nothing." He said, what do you mean? I said, well, just because you have it now, who says in 10 minutes you're going to have it? Who says in an hour? Who says in a day you're going to have that? Right? Do we? I mean, really, stop and think about it.
But you cannot live with doubt in your life.
We can't live with.
You cannot live with the doubt in your life. One day I'm going to have it, one day I'm not going to have it.
Well,
You take it, it comes to you, right?
no. So let me tell you something. It's not living with doubt. There's only one thing you have to live with, and you never have to worry your entire life.
The love of God.
Right, the love of God, or recognizing that everything I have comes from God. And so I have everything that I need because God gives it to me. And so therefore what I have is exactly what God needs, is exactly what I need. And if I live with that awareness of everything, that everything comes from God, and that God is totally only, we talked about it last week, God only gives me all the good. Now, I'll quote you a line I said last week. I didn't realize how brilliant I was until somebody reminded me that he said it. Because he says, right, he says, if you could I gave you a magic wand, and you can change anything in your life, what would you change? The answer is nothing. Because everything that God gives us is for our benefit. And when we recognize that everything that we have is a gift from Hashem, and that He decides that everything that we have, at that point in time, we lack nothing and have everything.
So if I don't have $1 million right now to buy a nice Mercedes,
Yeah.
I have to work for this guy's for like a dog.
Right.
This is what I deserve.
No. It's from
I mean,
God.
potential,
It's exactly what your soul needs,
At this moment.
at this moment. And you have to
To be
learn
here.
to be here, right? And then you have to learn, because let me ask you a question. I'll prove it to you. If you had a Mercedes and $1 million in the bank, would you be sitting in that chair? No. Right? So let me ask you a question. Is it better to have a Mercedes and $1 million or to listen to me talking to you with Torah?
Listen to Torah.
But they're not mutually exclusive.
Oh! Very good. Okay. No. So very good. So what do we have to do? So how do we get the $1 million and listen to class?
Thank God.
Thank God. And recognize you have to reorient your values.
Should I go and thank God for what I have right now and ask for $1 million later?
Sure. Or you could say, listen, God, but tell God what you're going to do with the $1 million. Explain to Him why He should give it to you. Make your case.
I need a Mercedes. How can I get
But
a
again,
Mercedes?
make sure it's important, right? Because what you're going to ask for, right? You make sure that that's the right thing to
It
ask.
has to be reasonable asking.
Right? Sure. Anything reasonable, God will give you.
Honest answer.
Right?
Honest,
Yeah,
honest.
sure. I mean, not only that, I'll tell you something fascinating. Do you know how you say prayer in Hebrew? Tefillah. Do you know what the word tefillah means? What's the root of the word tefillah?
Speak.
So ask.
Nope. The first says the root of the word tefillah is palel. Right? What does that mean? It's palel is to judge. Because when you stand in prayer, you know what you're doing? You're standing in front of God and you're explaining to Him why you're asking for what you're asking for.
It's actually the reflexive word, so it needs the judgment itself.
The judgment, that's exactly what it is, right? We're judging oneself because what are we doing when we're davening? When we're praying? We're saying to God, why, I'm asking you for health. Why do I need health? What are you going to do with it? You want to be healthy? How many people are going to help because you're healthy? You want to go ahead, you want money? Okay, what are you going to do with it? Right? We have what we call in the trade, right? There's something called the business cycle. You know the business cycle? Right? The business cycle is like this, right? It goes up and it goes down.
And prayer mirrors.
We have the prayer cycle, which mirrors the business cycle. The more successful you are, the less you pray. Right? When you're on top of the world, you really don't need God. Then all of a sudden, business. What does a good, loving God do? Takes away your business, so you'll pray more. And the more He takes away, the more you pray. Then it bottoms out. Okay, then you're praying, God, please, I need food for my table. Okay, sure. And you start going like this. Right? It goes like this. It's unbelievable. It mirrors. It's an exact mirror of the business cycle.
Okay, now,
Because what happens is when we go and we pray, right, is that we have to ask ourselves, why am I asking for what I'm asking? And then I have to say, okay, are these things that I need, these things that I want, these things, will they be good for me, will they not be good for me?
Do you always get what you want?
No, of course not. Because not everything that you want is good for you. So what does a loving and caring God do when it's not good for you? I'll give you an what? Of course he with.
I'll throw an example out. From New York, and I have a neighbor not far from me, the richest person I know, Orthodox Jew. Well, you're probably familiar with who he is.
Yeah.
And he owns Princeton Equities in New York City. It's probably $1 billion company. And he says to me every morning he wakes up and he thinks to himself that he doesn't have one thing from yesterday. Everything is gone. And so he wakes up every morning. It's absolutely nothing. And he says, that's how I start my day. So he says, I start my day with praying from absolutely nothing. I have nothing. So that's the concept. And he happens to be the richest person I know.
There's a famous Hasidic story, which is so gewaldic. And Michael, it's a gift from God. I'm about to tell you about. I'm about to change your life right now. Okay, listen to this. There was a Hasidic Rebbe who one night, like 11 o'clock at night, and he was running around town, saying, "I need to find somebody to give charity to." So somebody just came and dropped off money. I need to give that money to somebody. So he goes to me and so somebody goes to him and says, Rabbi, it's 11 o'clock at night. You should be in bed. What are you doing? He said, no. He says, I have to give the money away. He says, why do you have to give the money away? He says like this. He says, every morning I wake up, I have nothing in my bank account. So when I pray for God to give me food today, I know I have to trust in God and not in anybody else. He said, if I have the money in my pocket, am I going to really trust in God? Or am I going to trust in the money I have in my pocket that I could buy me breakfast? He says, so I got to make sure that when I wake up, I have nothing. So I can't go to sleep until I give it away.
So that's why we're covered by the United States government putting in God we trust on our money.
Everyone else pays cash. right? But that's the idea, right? The idea is that God, it's an amazing thing. Right? And we get so confused because we live in a world that is so steeped in physicality and in money, and we think if we don't have these things, if I don't have my Mercedes, I can't live. And I promise you, my Kia and your Mercedes get there at the same time. Right? I've tried it. I'm thinking, I probably do a Mercedes.
We live in a very physical world right now.
Right. And this job, and our job, is to remember that it's not a physical world. It's really all about, it's a godly world. And my job is to remember that I live in a godly world and I'm a godly person. And all you need to do, and you know what God gave us as a reminder? He gave us a body. Remember, Adam before he sinned was just light. He had just a faint resemblance of an outlined physical body. Every time we look at a physical body, what should we be thinking? This godliness hidden underneath here. Right? And I have to remember that I'm that physical thing, I'm that spiritual thing, I'm not the physical thing. And I go through life.
Since I took your classes, I'm starting to question myself. What should I go after?
There's only one thing you should go after.
Because in the past, I thought money is everything, and I didn't reach where I was supposed to be.
Right.
But now I'm here, and now, okay. I mean, we all die, we all have to...
And you ain't taking anything with you.
We're not taking anything with us.
Good,
Anyway,
okay. So what are you here to collect?
God points.
Mitzvahs. That's God points. That's the only thing you're here to collect. Right?
But people, they think you're stupid. People think
they absolutely do! And guess what? We're stupid for listening to them. It doesn't take away from the truth. You know what the truth is. Right? We know the truth. It's very, even they know the truth. And when you stop and you ask me, say, and what are you taking with you when you go? They'll tell you nothing. So what are you busy collecting everything? You're not taking it with you? In fact, the world is so upside down and backwards. You know what the only thing you take with you is what you give away. It's like one of the ironies of the world. The only thing you take with you is what you've given away. You know, the billionaire dies and gets to heaven. And, you know, and the angel says, sorry, you can't come in. He says, why not? He says, you didn't do what you're supposed to. He said, well, tell me how much it is. I'll write the check right now. Mary whips out his checkbook, says, tell me what it is. I'll write the check right now. And you know what God says? You know what the angel says to him? He says, sorry, sir. Here we only take receipts. We don't take checks. Right? And yet we know it. I'm not telling you anything new. Everyone agrees to this. Right? Nobody would tell me otherwise. You know, we laugh at the people that used to bury themselves with armies of people, right? We go digging in the Far East and we laugh at those people. They would kill thousands of their slaves when the ruler would die, so we'd have an army with them and he gets to the next world. And we think, right? Then we look at them, we say, these people are sad. Right? And we do it, and we do the exact same thing.
But Rabbi, this is never going to change.
That's not true. That's not true. It will change. Because if you think about it, you've changed the world. Even just thinking about it. Right? You're taking that one step, right? You're taking that one, you move the needle. You move the needle just a little, you've changed the world. Right? We always think that we got to change the world. I'm going to tell you something. Do you know how you change the world? You want to know how you change the world?
Change yourself first.
That's it. And you know how you change yourself? When you're at home, in your house, alone, without anybody seeing you. And you do the right thing because it's the right thing, you've changed the world. You've changed the world. That's what the world was created for. That's why the world goes on. It's an amazing thing. God says to man, why did you do this? And what does man say?
It's your fault.
It's your fault, God. Your fault, God. He can't even take responsibility then. It's so sad. And we laugh at him and we look at him and we say, like what happened to me? He hit his head on the rock. When he dove underneath the bushes, he must have hit his head on the rock. And you know what? We are Adam. We do the exact same thing. It's always God's fault. Right? God, why are you doing this to me? Right? I'm just reacting to what you're doing. Everything we're giving you is a gift. And we just have to learn how to use that gift. Everything's a gift. Right? What we have in this world is a gift from God. And our job is to figure out how to use it to become the most godly. And that's the question. When I wake up in the morning and say, okay, how am I going to sanctify God's name today? You know, we pray 3 times a day. You know why we pray 3 times a day? We pray when we wake up, we pray in the middle of the day, and we pray before we go to sleep. You pray in the morning, you know why? You orient yourself. Okay, what's my job in this world? What am I trying to accomplish today? What's my goal today? And then in the middle of the day, you stop yourself and you say, okay, let me take some time out in New York. You go to New York, downtown and all the businesses, right? There's dozens and dozens and dozens of afternoon services in the middle of these high gleaming skyscrapers, businesses, right? You go and you've been in the richest people in the world, richer than his buddy, right? And what happens when it comes time, they say, Rabbi, please be at 2 o'clock. And you had a 2:30 meeting. He said, please be here at 2. I said, why at 2 o'clock? He said, we have a minyan. We stop in the middle of the day and we pray. And that says, I check in. I stop in the afternoon, I check and I say, okay, God, is my head where it's supposed to be? Am I doing today what I'm supposed to be accomplishing? And we pray before we go to sleep. You know why? Because he said, okay, I had a day today. God gave me a gift. He gave me a gift called today. By the way, that's why. You know what today is called? It's called the present. It's not the future, it's not the past, it's the present. Because every day is a present. I treat it like a gift that it is. And I go and say, did I do with it what I need to? Did I accomplish it what I needed to accomplish? Right? And if I did, fantastic. If I didn't, well, what can I change about tomorrow to make sure I get what I do with it with what I need to do? And not let myself get caught up by other people.
There's a nice story. My son is in Israel learning this year. He's at a YU kind of yeshiva.
Mm-hmm.
And they brought in some of the alumni, different business people. They brought in this guy who had this clothing business. It was called Rhino.
Mm-hmm.
And a few years ago, he said, his family business, he worked for years and years. He devoted all his energy to his business. And at one point, they were offered $200 million for the business. They turned it down because they thought the business was worth more. 2 years later, business was worth nothing, and they were $20 million. So they said, what upset me the most was I worked all those years. I didn't spend time with my family, I didn't go to school, I didn't learn, I didn't do anything, and I had nothing to show for it. So he was telling the kids, he said, what you learn in the mornings, go to school, go to work, come home at 5, spend time with your family. He said, he started a new business, he was doing all right, but he said at one point, somebody had approached him and said, you would give him like $50 million in tzedakah. And he says, don't you regret now, like you give all that money away? And he said, of all the decisions I've made, this is the only one I don't regret. So this was interesting because he's a real person.
Right.
It was not like,
it's so true. And what's fascinating, and I'll tell you something amazing. Adam gets slammed here for being what's called a kafui tova. Right? He's rejecting the good that God had done for him. And if we could learn to appreciate all the goodness that we have, my friends, lives would be on a totally different level. I have a student who told me whenever his kids used to kvetch about like something, he said he used to tell his kids, let's go for a drive. And they'd go down to the hospital, go down to Parkland. And they'd walk the halls of Parkland, it's a hospital downtown. And walk the halls and said, what are you ungrateful for about now? Right? We just need a little appreciation. Right? And when somebody does something good for you, we're required to stop and to say thank you. And to recognize the good. Nobody here, nobody in this world is here alone. It's only through kindnesses that other people do. And if we don't appreciate those kindnesses, right, it just reflects on us poorly. Right? And certainly when Adam says to God, the woman that you gave to me, when you asked for it, right? The Talmud goes bananas. They go, like, how could you sink even lower? Right? Adam says, the woman that you gave to me, it's your fault, God. It's not even the woman's fault. Right? He's blaming God. Right? The woman that you gave to me messed it all up.
But did he know that he had responsibility to the world?
Absolutely. He knew he had responsibility. And what did he do with that responsibility? He dumped it. The world's all about taking responsibility. Taking responsibility for our actions and being thankful for what we have. And make sure we thank God. And by the way, there are a lot of people we need to thank. Right? Parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, schoolmates. Just go down the list. Go down the list. There are hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people that you have to thank. But we don't stop and think about it. Because we're afraid that we might owe somebody something. Right? And you have to learn. And that's really the only course of action is to go through the world and be thankful to everybody. Right? And to learn to live in a state of thankfulness to God. And Adam blames everybody else. It's amazing. The woman that you gave to me, she gave me of the tree and I ate.
So what is the price of Chava?
Okay, hold on. Okay, now we're going to go for let's go to woman. Verse number 13. Okay, Peter, you want to read?
Sure. And Hashem, God said...
By the way, and Hashem, God. And how is God being called over here? Hashem. What is Hashem? Mercy. Right? Mercy, right? He's being called God of mercy. Can I ask you a question? While man has the chutzpah to tell God that it's all your fault, while he's doing that, and what is God doing? Being merciful. Is that not just like off the charts? Is that like just off the charts? Right? Thank you. Is that not just off the charts? While we're sinning. Right? And by the way, remember, God had this perfect plan for the world to go straight into the Messianic era. And here's man blowing it up. And God gives him 5 chances, 8 chances to fix up, and he's still doing it. God is still mercy. My friends, by the way, I just want to tell you something. There are 13 attributes of God. Okay? There are 13 attributes of God. Our job in this world is to mimic God and to act like God. Okay? The first one is Adonai. Right? Right? That's God in mercy. Learn to tolerate other people's weaknesses. The second one is Adonai. Give to them even when they're in the middle of sinning. Even after they sin. God is still the God of mercy. Right? And how many people come and say, well, that person's such a jerk. Guess what, pal? Good. What would God do? Forgive. Would God just forgive, or would God help that person out? Both. You want to be godly? You want to learn to act like God? When that happens, God's giving us an opportunity. And we can choose how we want to react. Because that's the only thing we control. We don't control what happens. We control how we react to what happens.
Is God more merciful to a woman than men?
Now, this is very interesting. The answer
Because
is...
here it says Hashem God, so it was explained twice. So that means she has an advantage over men in one way.
I'm going to explain to you something fascinating about men and women. Because this whole thing, by the way, is all about men and women. It's good you came tonight. It's all the marriage class you're about to learn. It's all you need is in these next 5 verses explains marriage. Everything you need to know. You might have to cancel your flight. It's probably worth it. God treats us the same way we treat other people. The way you treat other people is the way God will treat you. Guaranteed. If you want to be, holding people accountable, guess what? Go right ahead. And God will hold you accountable. If you treat other people with kindness, God will treat you with kindness. When something's rotten going on, you know what God is doing? He's giving us a chance that even though somebody's being rotten, you can be kind to them. You know why? Because you're signing your own life certificate. Because we're being rotten to God. But God says, look, you treated them with kindness, I have to treat you with kindness too.
So if I come to say about Epstein, I'm going to do you and this and that, are you going to be nice to me?
Yep. And being nice might mean to smack you. But or in Texas might shoot you in the, but the answer is being nice. Let me explain to you something very important. Being nice means figuring out what that other person needs and giving that other person what they need. Not what they want, what they need. But only with the best intentions in mind.
How do you do it without not being a doormat? And how do you do it without, what if I don't know what that person needs, but I've given everything I can, and it's just like a
So I'll tell you something.
of needs.
Right, and I've had that. Sometimes when people are like that, the most important thing you say is no. But I'll tell you something fascinating.
Then you're not doing what they want, their best interest, you're doing your best interest, which is
No, it's in their best interest. Somebody who's a taker and taking, you don't be an enabler. Giving them is not the best thing. I'll give you. It's right. Don't enable them.
There's a guilt that comes.
Right, of course, right. No, but it's looking to find what that other person is. I'll tell you something interesting. I'll tell you a nice idea. We say in the evening service, we ask God to please remove the evil inclination that's in front of us and that's in back of us. Can I ask you a question? Don't you want the evil inclination in back of you? You don't want them in front of you. You want them in back of you.
Then you can't see them.
Isn't the in back of you for what you did?
No. I said, interesting. So it means in back of you, the evil inclination that's pushing you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and just pushing us. When things start coming just like very fast at us, right? That's part of a way the evil inclination uses to overwhelm us and make us do poor decisions.
You just throw your hands.
Yeah. Right. We just check out. We're out. We're out of here. I'm gone. Goodbye. Right. See. And the answer is sometimes you have to be able to step back and to just take a breather, and just you don't have to react. You know, once had a guy come and say, "Rabbi, I need help." I said, "What happened?" He said, "Had a relationship that it just blew." I said, "Great." I said, "How long did you know this person?" He said, 20 years. I said, "How long did it take you to blow it?" He said, 20 minutes. I said, "Really?" I said, "How did that happen?" So this was like when emails. I mean, this is like probably like 2000. He said, "Well, we had an email exchange. I asked him to help me. He said no. I sent back a message. Why not?" He said, "I don't want to." He said, "Then I said, well, if you don't want to, then I'm just." I mean, it was like an exchange that took place in 20 minutes. He ruined a 20-year friendship. So I said, the first thing is, I said, is cut the cord of your computer. I said, because you're killing yourself. Right? I said, and that's moving the inflation back of us that pushes us to do this. And so it's so important to be able to just step back and stop. You don't have to respond. It's okay. You come back to it later. I know. I'm going to tell you something interesting. Whenever I get an email, that kind of that gets me off kiltered, right? Like I look at it and go like, ooh, right? I close it and I don't respond. I wait.
Whenever I respond to an email, I don't send it until the next.
Right? No. I don't even type it. What I do is I step and why, and I'll explain to you why. It works that way. I'll just explain to you. Just very simple. You see, when you think somebody's being mean to you or attacking you, right? So what happens? All of a sudden, you're out of equilibrium, right? You begin like getting angst and whatever it is, angry, whatever things that. Do you know that you have less control than a drunk at that point in time? I kid you not. Right? And do you know? Would you ever argue with a drunk person? So why are you acting as a drunk? I just won't. I just close it. And sometimes I come back a day later and it's not enough. I have to wait another day. Right? And sometimes I have to go back a week later before I'm willing to address it because I can't think. Right? Because I'm so out of sorts.
Upset. I'm
so upset. And just move back. God loves me. Life is good. Right? That's all. Right? And that's what you need to come back to. I told you, everything that God does for us is for our benefit. Right? It's all the best for us. Right? I might not understand why. I understand it's happening. Now what do I do with it? And I have to learn to process that. So God goes to women. Now listen to this. Listen to this unbelievable thing. Okay. So verse, right? So and Hashem, God said to the woman, "What is this that you have done?" Right? Go ahead. So what does the woman say?
The woman said, "The serpent deceived me, and I ate."
Aha! Another one of responsibility. What does she say?
It's not me.
It's not me. God, it's a serpent. Right? The serpent deceived me and I ate. Again, passing the buck. Not taking responsibility.
It's like my fifth child, not me.
Right. And you only have 4. Right? But that's what it says. Right? She said, okay, now let me ask you all a question. If you were a woman, what would you have answered? The guy says, let's just put it in context, okay? The guy says, this woman that you gave me, it's her fault. She gave me to eat. And so it's not my fault, it's her fault. What would have been the most logical answer that woman should have answered at that point in time?
Yeah.
I did it, and I'm sorry.
Okay, I did it, I'm sorry. Okay, good, right? That's responsibility. But again, even forget about responsibility. What would be the simple answer to answer?
I didn't shove it down your throat, dude.
If I told you to jump off the Empire State Building, would you have jumped?
Yeah.
That's exactly what she should have said. Right? If I gave you poison, would you have eaten it too? You knew it was poison. Why are you blaming me? You had free will. You could have done it. Right?
Yeah.
And woman does not answer that.
Well, Rabbi, she has a case.
The what?
She was connected to Adam. God told Adam not to eat, not her, right?
So let her say. She doesn't say
They were
that.
connected. She's not at fault.
No. She's separate at this point.
But before they were connected.
Yeah. But now she's separate.
So she was blaming serpent.
She's blaming the serpent. She doesn't say I didn't know. She knew. But she said it's the serpent's fault. What? Why didn't she say, and if I were to tell you to jump off the Empire State Building, would you have jumped? That was the right answer for her to answer. But she doesn't. She chooses a weaker argument. Why?
Because a woman is different than a man?
Yeah?
She's not taking responsibility.
Right, both. Certainly we said the right way was for to take responsibility. But here, forget about taking responsibility.
They're still considered one at one point, so you couldn't really blame the same person?
No. He blamed her.
Oh, it's true. You're right. That's
Why didn't the woman take the stronger answer?
Because the punishment would be harder for her.
Go ahead, why?
Then it would have all
Because she
been
was the
her.
one who fed Adam.
Okay, but he didn't have to eat it.
But she took the piece.
I know she took it, but he didn't have to eat it.
But she was the instigator.
But she deceived him.
But she was the instigator. Again, the snake was the instigator.
But she deceived
No,
him.
she didn't deceive him. She told him where it was from.
She got deceived by the snake.
She didn't get deceived. The snake. She listened to the snake.
Yeah.
So let me teach you something very important about marriage.
She should have listened to her husband.
A woman would rather take the punishment than end the marriage. If woman would have said to man, it's your fault, you shouldn't have listened to me, that would have killed the marriage. And a woman said, I'd rather take the hit and use the weaker argument than end my marriage.
But this is practice in Islamic countries that they get it beaten up.
No.
every single day.
No. Beating up. Your woman is not yours. You can't touch her. If I ever hear anyone beating up their wife, I'll break their fingers.
This is very common in my country.
It's not my country. Welcome to America. Right? You're not allowed to touch your wife. What are you talking about? Is she yours? Are you allowed to ever touch her? Ever? Ever? It's retarded. You know what the first thing I teach my kids is? Right? They're in Torah day school. You know what they learn? My son's starting to learn Talmud. What's the first thing they learn? Two people grab hold of an object. Who does it belong to? You know why? Because it's not yours. You can't take it. Who does it belong to? Your woman doesn't belong to you. Right? Are you allowed to touch somebody else? Right? What do we learn? The first laws after we get the Torah. Parshas Mishpatim. One of the first laws. If you touch somebody else, you have to pay damages. There are 5 things you got to pay. She's not yours. Not to touch her. Right? That's the first thing you got to learn. I'm teaching my 5th grader this. Inside, before we teach him when he's 2 years old about this. But the first thing in the Talmud you learn about property. Who does it belong to? What belongs to you? What doesn't belong to you? What you can do, what you can't do. You can touch, you can't touch. That's it. But a woman says, I'd rather remain married and take the hit than going to give the right argument that she should have used.
So was
That's
that
what-
out of love, you think?
It's out to be. A woman understands that the marriage would have ended. This whole story here is fascinating. Wait till we get it actually shows you the man-woman relationship, what it's all about. It's fascinating. It's just one of the most incredible verses in the Torah. It's just the most amazing thing.
Hypothetically speaking, what if Adam didn't eat from it?
Yeah.
What would have happened?
What would have happened?
If she would have eaten from it and she's like, hey, you want some? He's like, no.
Right.
I'm cool.
At that point in time, what do I think would have happened?
Well,
I think,
yeah,
I think what happened is she would have recognized that she made a mistake and she would have done tshuva.
Oh, and then they would have both been messianic. Oh,
Right.
right. He would have been a good influence. Okay.
Okay, right.
Two of them together.
Two of them together.
Is a bad situation.
Right, but the problem was they fed on each other the wrong way.
You're right. Because
Right.
the
tshuva was what's missing.
Yeah, it wasn't the apology. It wasn't the actual act. It was
Right.
the I don't want to.
Right, I don't want to own up. I don't want to own it.
Okay,
Right, they don't get thrown out for eating from the tree.
They get thrown out for not apologizing.
For not apologizing, not doing tshuva.
So in
Right, they
that-
eat in verse number 6. They get thrown on verse 23. There's the 15 verses that we're going through now.
And
Right,
like
that God is just taking them. Yeah, God is just taking them step by step.
Okay,
They
so
simply didn't realize they could have escaped and stay in the garden just to say, I'm sorry, it's my fault. To the very end, they still didn't accept it.
How many times do we refuse to say I'm sorry?
It's sad.
Isn't it sad? Today we do the same thing. And we saw what happened to them. And how many times are we willing to today stand up to the plate and say, I made a mistake?
Yeah. Exactly.
Never! And we see it here.
Maybe we had mid-11 and the mistakes there.
It's not painful enough.
Yeah.
You know, right? It hasn't hurt enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm still going. You know, God, you have to tie me down. You know, you're going to stick my head to get that I'm sorry.
It's like you want to be right, you want to be happy.
That's not right. And even that.
And when they were
And even-
expelled. When they were
And
expelled.
the whole thing, this whole thing, we spend our entire life learning one very simple lesson.
But Rabbi, the woman got the most of the punishment.
No, wait,
Very
hold.
punishment.
That's incorrect, my friend.
The woman that got is very, very, very far. Than
Maybe in your country they taught you that. In my country we learned something else.
No. The woman needs to start giving birth. She goes through all this.
And what happened to me? And by the way, man got 10 curses.
Goes up, she goes through all this mood exchanges.
Man has to live with her. Who's got it worse? But besides that, man got 10 curses and woman got 10 curses. We both got 10 curses.
Yeah, the men curse are a little bit more. Like,
Oh yeah?
He's right.
Yeah, really? Really? You want to go to work? I kind of like eating my bonbons in the garden with my two butlers bringing me my food, and on the grill while I'm sitting there eating on the grill on demand. They just bring it right here. I think this work thing really stinks. By the way,
I agree.
you know, I'd rather much be right. I don't know about you guys. I like it with the my little martini glass with the little umbrella inside of it. That's the right. Instead to go to work. Right. By the way, why do men die 10 years earlier than women? Maybe 7 years. And it's like women usually live to 87, men like to 80. I think it's a 7-year gap.
Escape.
Why did men die earlier?
She told us to.
Right. No, you know the answer is very simple because we go to work. Work kills you. It's very simple. Very simple. Men die. That's
Women
it.
are starting to catch up.
And then why?
Because
Because they think they need to work too. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Right? It's such an amazing thing.
Yeah.
Right? You know, like it's incredible stuff.
But again, we live in a materialistic world. If my wife doesn't have Mercedes, she's the most unhappiest person in the world right now.
If she what?
If she doesn't have the Mercedes,
No.
the whole world is
So
upside down for
it's
her.
the whole world has become so upside down and backwards because we desire things that don't help us. We desire things that aren't good for us, and it leads us to all our aches and pains, and we still refuse to give them up. It's the most amazing world we live in, just truly amazing.
Buy a new model that's the exact same, but it's like $1,000 more because it's newer. And you buy
And just the whole thing. And you know who convinces us? There's $1 billion industry created just for that. To advertising was created just to convince you to buy things that you don't need.
They hire neuroscience now a lot. Neuroscience is
Right.
the biggest field, advertisement. They want the neuroscience
Of course.
ad agencies to sell it better.
Because we know exactly what you're going to do. We know A, B, C will get you to do D.
Yeah.
You know who the best advertisements in the world are? Cigarettes. Because why? Because cigarettes will kill you. Does anyone here disagree on the science that cigarettes will kill you? Nobody disagrees on the science. Everybody agrees to that. Right? Right? And the advertisements are there to convince you that you need to smoke.
You know what's so funny? Those anti-cigarette advertisement
Right.
made the cigarette sales grow higher than ever.
Soft drinks. The industry of the soft drinks also is very huge and very.
The what?
You're right,
Soft
soda.
drinks.
Yeah. It's all this stuff. It's very fascinating. Okay, so let's go on, because this. I'm telling you, this stuff here is gold, my friend. If you knew what gold was here, you wouldn't leave here. Like you would say it, and you would say, Rabbi, you can't go. You've got to learn this stuff. Listen to this. So the woman says, the serpent deceived me, and I ate. Now she passes the buck as well. Takes the weaker argument because she wants to save the marriage. She says, I'd rather take the hit and save the marriage. Verse number 14. Now here is where God lowers the boot. Okay, he's tried to work it out again and again and again and again, opportunity after opportunity after opportunity, and what happens? And they keep on, right? They keep on messing up. Okay, verse number 14. All right, go ahead, Peter.
And Hashem God said to the serpent, because you have done this, accursed are you beyond all the cattle and beyond all beasts of the field. Upon your belly shall you go, and dust shall you eat all the days of your life. I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and her offspring. He will pound your head, and you will bite his heel.
Okay, so what does God punish the snake with? What does he punish the snake with?
Enmity.
What?
Unlimited
Sustenance. How is this a punishment?
What does that mean, unlimited sustenance?
He said you'll eat dirt. Wherever he goes, there's food everywhere. How is that a punishment to the snake?
It's not tasty.
Mm-hmm.
It's not tasty.
Okay, correct. But unlimited buffets are better than tasty limited ones. You ask your Jew, would you rather go to unlimited buffet or right? But it doesn't taste too great, or you have one, limited. You won't be able to have everything, but you can go.
How do you exactly describe enmity?
And hatred.
Hatred.
So, what type of punishment is this to the snake? By the way, just fascinating, right? It's going to be hands. You lose your hands and feet. You're going to go on the ground. You know, by the way, that on the snake vertebrae there are two places, right? The anthropologists have shown, right, that there are two places where you used to have hands and feet. Just fascinating, little piece of information. You didn't know that? You go take a look at it. And snakes used to have hands and feet, almost like dinosaurs. Very interesting. Okay, so now they slither on the ground. So we have two questions. Number one is, how is this a punishment? They'll never run out of food.
It's a punishment because they have to live that way. Their punishment is they have to slither on the ground.
The relationship is cut off.
Oh, no, so like this. Okay.
They lost free will.
Snake never had a free will. But let me explain to you something amazing. You know what God said? God said, here is your food for the rest of your life. You'll never need me. You don't want a relationship with me? Great. Here's your food. I'll see you at the end of eternity. The greatest punishment given out over here to the snake or to the man or to the woman, it is clearly the greatest punishment is to the snake. It deprive him of God. Not deprive him of God. Deprive him of the need of God. You understand? We say needing God is the best thing in the world. Why is needing God the best thing in the world?
Connection.
Because you get your connection, you won't forget about Him. When you have what you need, you forget to talk to God. The greatest punishment meted out here is that the snake was told, here is your food, you no longer need me for the rest of your life.
Which is dirt, the food is dirt.
But you'll unlimited, you'll have it wherever you go.
Is that what the snake eats?
You don't, it's a question, you don't know.
But aren't all animals, you said, like angels, and so they're robots, so basically they only do what God tells them to do. So if the snake is an animal, then how can he exist without God? Because they don't really have God like people.
Good,
Unless
good.
they're snake people, the
No, good. You're getting too smart, Aaron. I have to stop listening to those classes online. Erin is kind enough. She's actually cataloging all the tape recordings that we have. So, but she's listening to them too. So it's kind of getting me nervous. Okay, like this. The answer is like this. When the snake, what do you mean lose his hands and his feet? Why does snake lose his hands and his feet?
Right, they said just wiggle on the ground. They said lose his hands and his feet.
You know what that means? He's going to go. He loses his hands and his feet.
What if he just hopped up and down like this?
Yeah.
Says on your belly.
On your belly, you're going to crawl. You no longer have the hands and feet. I'm going to explain to you why. Listen to this. The most amazing thing. What does the snake represent?
Evil inclination.
The evil inclination. Not evil inclination. Remember, what's the snake's job?
To make you do bad things.
To make you do bad things. He was here to tempt man. If you don't have a snake, you don't have life.
So it's not really an animal, it's just an animal.
Well, but there is an animal snake, but it's more than that. It's standing for an ideal.
Something, okay, yeah.
So what happened was, you know why the snake lost the hands and the feet? Because man fell from their exalted level and they crashed down on the ground. So if the snake was to still have its hands and its feet, if the snake was still being at full power, and man now was a crippled, of course we wouldn't be able to overcome the snake. We'd all be right. We'd succumb. So what does God have to do to the snake? He said, "Snake, you were successful. You come down, lose your hands and feet, and now you'll be equal."
What about the not connection thing?
Okay, so the not connection is to teach us that's the worst thing in the world that can happen. But what happens like this? Let me tell you what the Talmud says. The Talmud says an amazing story. The Talmud says at the end of days, when the Messiah comes, God is going to make a big party. And it's going to be a party, and the righteous and wicked people are both going to be at the party. And the righteous and the wicked, God is going to show them both their evil inclination, and both are going to cry. And the Talmud says, the righteous people are going to see their evil inclination. He's going to look like the Hulk, muscles behind the ears. And the righteous person is going to say, how is it possible for me to ever overcome this huge force? And the wicked person is going to cry because his evil inclination is going to be this white little thread on the ground. And the evil person is going to say, how could I not overcome just this little thread on the ground? Now, if you would ask me, I would have said the other way around. The righteous person is one who has the evil inclination that's a thread. The evil person has the one that's the Hulk. And the Talmud says, no. The Talmud says, the righteous person's evil inclination, as he becomes more righteous, the evil inclination has to get bigger and bigger and stronger and stronger. They have to be even. So there has to be both. It has to be the Hulk. And he says, how could I ever overcome this? I can't. This is just impossible. And the wicked person, as they become more wicked and wicked, the evil inclination is going to be drinking more martinis on the beach. Right? You know, your evil inclinations hate you for coming to class. You know why?
Because they lost?
No, because now they have to go to the gym and work out. Right? What were they doing before you showed up to class? What were they doing? They're sitting on the beach sipping their martinis. Right? That's what they were doing. Right? That's what they were doing. But now all of a sudden you come to class when you're learning, and all of a sudden now they got to go work out. Right? Like how does that work? Right? That's the evil inclination. That's why the evil inclination, right, gets to a place like that.
It's separated from God, though. What does that mean?
Separate from God is that understand that sometimes having everything that you want is not the greatest. For the snake, it was a punishment.
He's punishing the snake. Okay, the snake means the evil inclination. The evil inclination is lower, so he's punishing the snake, but
Right.
he's really just saying the evil inclination
Do it now.
But it's separate from God, so maybe that means that God is no longer connected to the evil.
No. The evil inclination will take you to a place where you're no longer connected to God. Right.
Before he couldn't do that, whereas now, because he was.
Well, that was his job. I mean, now all of a sudden, now it became that evil inclination, right? His job is to separate us from God, right? And everything that happens, he'll use in his power to try to disconnect us from God, right? It goes to extreme lengths to make that happen.
And he's not connected to God because he's.
No. He's on God's payroll. The snake is on God's payroll.
God controls him, but God doesn't really care. Like he's not like he's not. If you're with him, you're not with him.
Well,
separation.
if you have inclination, his job is to take you away from God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why is he punished for doing
His job,
what they're
and they're right. So it's not really quote unquote his punishment, but man became so much weaker. Right? Man's status was up over here, not fell all the way down. His evil inclination has to come down as well. Right? Because remember, I'll explain the way I always think of it. You remember, you ever have to graph those algebraic equations? X plus Y equals 4, right? Okay, then you have to shade. Okay, whatever. Right. X minus Y equals 20. X plus Y equals X times 2 plus 4Y. Whatever it is. Right? Remember those? I can remember those equations. Okay. So what happens is, you ever graph? Remember having to graph them? Right. You got to make a graph, and then you got to fill it in like.
X plus 2.
Right, and the line which you make as the graph. Okay, the line that you make as a graph. Sometimes is dotted and sometimes is solid. What's it depending whether it's dotted or solid? Depending whether it's just greater than or less than, or whether it's an equal. Right? Equal or greater than. If it's equal, then there's the line. If it's not, then everything above the line is good, everything below the line is bad. That line is what we call your nekudas habechira, your choice. Okay? It's where your choice really goes ahead and lies. Anything above it, you really don't, it's not a choice. Anything below it, you don't have a choice. Meaning, nobody in this room really has a choice whether you're going to shoot somebody, kill somebody. It's just, we're not going to do it. Right? The report, right, it's still so far.
It's not like something we have to like overcome.
Oh, right.
Okay, put the gun down.
Right. It's not something that we have to overcome, right? It's not a challenge for us.
Yeah.
Right? So where's our choice? Okay, now each one of us has a place where the choices start getting harder. Right? You know, where the choices become more sophisticated. Each and every one of us have our line or have that place when we make those choices, or where those choices come into being. Right? And that's what we call nekudas habechira, right? The sort of that's a point of choice where we're at 50-50. And we have to say, no, we're going to choose to do the right thing, and we choose to do the right thing. And that's really, and as we learn and as we study and we grow, those choices become more real. Okay, those choices become, right, they come to a place where those choices really become choices.
So the nature got punished as well too?
Well, for sure. The whole world, the whole world is really dependent on the Jewish people.
No, but I'm saying in this scenario.
Well, the snake did, but you take a look.
Did the animal have to eat the grass to survive or not?
Yes. Yeah. No, that's the food that animals only got was grass, right? Okay. Now we're going to read. Now, by the way, but the punishment to the snake. Now, does God ask the snake, why did you do this?
No, he doesn't have free will.
Oh, so why didn't he ask the snake? Right? True, he doesn't have free will. Or he would have just said to God, because you made me that way, right? Because you programmed me. But the Torah is teaching us that with the instigator, you don't ask why they did it. The instigator, God just went unpunished.
Wait,
the instigator, right?
Anything?
Yeah, generally that's the principle. The instigator, you just gets the consequence. The only ones that we asked for was for man and woman, right? Man and woman, right? Because they were the ones that that followed along.
Or part of the mob, or part of the.
Right.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When God created this world,
yeah,
did He create a bunch of lions in different varieties of lions?
Sure.
Created a bunch of snakes.
Yeah, sure.
So why is He talking to this particular snake over here?
Unread, because this snake is
a metaphor.
Is a metaphor not just of a snake, but it's a metaphor of the evil inclination.
So when we have Chinese,
It's not a cobra.
When we have Chinese and Africans and this and that, these are all been created at the same time.
Snakes or humans?
No, humans.
Humans? No, so not originally. All the different human beings come about from the Tower of Babel, which is chapter 11.
They all are the same at the
And right now here, yeah, right now here, there's 2 human beings alive in the world.
The same.
There's only 2 people, but yes. Right, Adam and Eve, right? Or Adam and woman. Those were the 2.
Only 2 people to start.
Well, 2 people, right. And they've already had kids. So Cain and his sister and Abel and his twin sisters. Right? The whole world, there are 7 human beings alive in the world at this point in time. Now, comes the next verse. This next verse, I'm going to teach you what it means. It's going to revolutionize your life forever. Okay?
I like it.
Okay. Kenny, it's going to change your life. Joy, why don't you read this?
16 are we, or 15?
16.
To the woman he said, I will greatly increase your suffering, and your childbearing and pain shall you bear children. Yet your craving shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you.
Okay, stop here.
Explain that, please. Explain.
Do the 15.
Oh, 15?
That's the most important one.
No, I think I missed
No, we
it.
did.
We didn't do 15.
We
We
didn't
did.
do 15. That's the most
We
important
did. I'll put enmity between you and the
What does that mean,
woman.
enmity?
Hatred.
Yeah, you're right.
Means we don't like, right? We don't like snakes.
Is this where man and woman all of a sudden is different?
No. This is man.
Different,
If it's an analogy,
like
then
me
what
and
is the
her.
analogy?
Right.
We love each other and we could hate each other.
No. This is a snake. This is mankind. All of us vis-a-vis the snake. Now, this next verse. Okay, verse number 16. Borders has been waiting patiently for 4 weeks for us to get there. 4 weeks. Everyone, please give Borders a round of applause. He waited so long. I can't believe it. Okay, now I'm going to read verse 16, and now I'm going to say something that will change your life forever. Because I've read this verse, and I never understood it. It was totally beyond that. I never understood it. And one day, my wife actually told me an explanation from, I don't mean, but Rebson Braunstein said an idea that this verse, it was so gold. It was so amazing. Okay, go ahead. Verse number 16. Read it again.
To the woman he said, I will greatly increase your suffering and your childbearing. In pain shall you bear children. Yet your craving shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you.
Oh! Okay. Does anyone want to take I don't want to say stab, because when it comes to men and women, you got to keep the knives away. Anyone want to take a shot? Oh, sorry. Anyone want to take a whatever and explain to me this verse?
I will greatly increase your suffering. So there was suffering before this.
And then right now, okay. So from here, okay, you should know women got 10 curses. Women got 10 curses. Men at this point 10 curses, and man, by the way, is going to get 10 curses as well.
So
okay,
equal.
They both got 10. Each one got 10 curses. Each one what they needed, right? Okay. So now let's understand what happened over here to the woman.
So having babies is going to be very painful.
Having babies is going to be very painful because of what happened. So before this, right, every time a man and woman would have sex, they would have a child. They have a baby right away. Nowadays, right, that was changed. So now there'd be 9 months of pregnancy. The pregnancy would be full of throw up and of morning sickness, right? And then they would have the pain of raising the child. Right? These are all part of the 10 curses, right? But that's right. That's what happened, right?
Was the kid born like self-sufficient before?
I don't know. By the way, also just interesting to note. Okay, interesting to note that. Okay, you're gonna have the pain of childbirth. Okay, even today, every time a husband and wife are together, they create a child. They create a soul. They create a spiritual child. Just not a physical child. Okay? Every time a husband and wife are together, right, they go ahead and they create a child. When you get upstairs to heaven, you will meet all those souls that you created.
Where were they?
No. What do you,
in the meantime, where
in the world of the souls.
Oh.
Right, and that's why the Talmud, right, it gives us right what we're supposed to think about at the time when the husband and wife are together.
Oh, it's important.
It's important because we're creating souls. Right? We're creating, right? We want to create righteous souls, not wicked souls. What we think about, right? When the husband and wife are together, that creates that child that we create. Right? So it's just fascinating, right? So there are 10 curses. That when I'm going to go through those 10 curses. But first, I want to tell you this other idea, which I think is so unreal.
Verse.
It goes like this. To the woman he said, I will greatly increase your suffering and your childbearing. In pain shall you bear children. So all that we understand, right? Right, the pain of pregnancy, the pain of childbearing, the pain of right. Women are much more connected to their children, right? When the child does something wrong, right, the woman, right, the woman will be much more upset. My kid does something wrong, my wife will cry. I'm saying, why are you crying? She said, well, my kid did something wrong. I said, so what? He's a kid. Move on with life. Right now, no, that was a mistake. Right, because a woman is much more connected to her child. So the raising the child for a woman is much more intimately connected to her. We guys just whatever. Let's move on with life. We shoot them, always have another one. Right. It's like right. It's like right. Like it's right. We say right, but women don't do like that. Right. It's no. It's like right. It's because they're connected to them. Okay. Why are they connected to them more than men, by the way?
They birth their parents.
And okay. So therefore what?
Well, we carried them.
Okay, you carried them, right? Okay, so right. And therefore.
So we're physically closer.
Okay, come.
Part of them?
How do you create a connection? How do you create love?
Connection.
By giving.
By giving.
The more you give, the more you love. Right? So who gives to the child more, the husband or the wife? The wife. Why? Because she's given 9 months earlier. So for 9 months she's been giving. And therefore the connection is greater. Okay? Now.
But for the woman, the love is an instant love.
Correct.
For the man, it takes time to build that.
That could be. But again, that's because she's been giving more. The husband has not been giving. Since he hasn't been giving, you create love by giving. That's how you create love. Right? Love is created.
A drug addict leaves the child somewhere and she walks away.
You have exceptions to every rule. People just lose it.
They're high.
Remember, they just lose it.
They still love the child.
You can't ask like those exceptions. I mean, those are like it's crazy. It just people snap. That's what happens. To your husband shall you crave. What does that mean?
Well, I would interpret it as so much pain and suffering with pregnancy, childbirth, we turn a woman off from a man.
Okay. Because she'll blame him instead of recognizing that it takes two to have sex. And it's always his fault. She'll just continue the messing up of not taking responsibility. Oh, okay. And so therefore he should crave. And so therefore it says your husband shall crave. So God offset that with I want to have relations with my husband. I would say that's also in there. I would agree somewhat with that. But I'm not sure that's the. I'm going to tell you what. When I heard this explanation, I got up and I danced because it was something that was so brilliant. It was like the room lit up. Okay, like one of these things that was so just amazing. To your husband you shall crave. What does a woman want from her husband?
Love, attention.
There are 3 A's.
Affection.
Okay, 1 second. There are 3 A's. Never ever forget them. If you're a guy, burn them into your skin so you'll never forget them. When you wake up in the morning, repeat them over. In the middle of the day, repeat them again. And at the evening, repeat them again. Before you walk into the house, repeat them. Before you go to bed, repeat them. A woman wants 3 A's. Some people say 4 A's. A woman wants attention, affection, and appreciation. I'm going to tell it to you again. The 3 A's. Attention, affection, appreciation.
Is that after marriage?
A woman needs from her husband.
Any
Before
woman-
marriage, every woman, attention, affection, appreciation. The 4th A is American Express. Okay, so the 3 A's that every woman wants is attention, affection, and appreciation. Those are the 3 A's. Attention, she wants her husband to pay attention to her. Which means, when you come home, or she's talking to you, put your phone away. It means you take up the pose. Do you know what the pose is?
I'm sorry, honey.
No, I didn't say. No. The pose is like this. Okay, just look at her. Okay, put the phone down, nothing in your hand. You just look and look at her. It's called attention. Affection. Okay, people think affection means physical affection. She's not interested in your physical affection until you give her spiritual affection and emotional affection. Okay, which means you have to talk to her. You have to say nice things to her. You have to be nice. Make them up if you have to and lie, but say them anyway. Affection. Okay? And then, but men don't understand. You see, and it's not really the man's fault. See, because women, men think it's all physical affection. What they don't understand is a woman is not interested in physical affection until she has emotional and spiritual affection. Men go at it from the other way. They actually like physical affection because that helps them create the emotional and spiritual connection. And actually, it's actually fascinating. We work at it total opposite directions, right? And that's actually is something, just an amazing thing, by the way. Is that I always tell people one of the most amazing things. I'll show you something truly amazing, and truly amazing over here.
Don't change your life forever, right?
And it went like this. Did it ever bother you? You see, men and women, men start off marriage wanting sex all the time. By the time they're 50, they're sleeping on the couch with the remote. And a woman, when they gets married, isn't so interested. By the time she's interested, he's sleeping on the couch. And for one night, they're on the same page. Does it ever bother you why God has done such a thing? I mean, wouldn't it be easier for God to put us all on the same page?
That's proof that God has a sense of humor.
Oh my gosh. Right? Why does God do it this way?
That's part of the punishment, right?
No. No.
If women wanted to have sex all the time during her childbearing years, she'd have more kids and she'd be able to take care of them.
Nope.
I'm just saying.
No. I'll tell you something fascinating just about having kids. Just on that point, by the way. God will never give you more kids than you can handle. Means when somebody says to me, I had somebody come to my house and says, Rabbi, can I talk to you? I said, sure. He says, listen, I want to, my wife wants to have more kids and I'm full. I've got 2 kids and I'm done. So I said to them, I said, wait a second. So let me ask you a question. What do you mean He says, just 2 kids max me out. So I said, of course it does, because you only have 2 kids. I said, if God was to give you a 3rd kid, he'll give you energy for 3 kids. I said, and I'll prove it to you. I'll prove it to you. I said, you have 2 kids now. I said, right. I said, but one of the kids goes away to the grandparent. I said, how does it feel taking care of 1 kid? He says, it's a breeze. I said, of course it is. Because God gave you energy for 2 kids, you only have 1. I said, I have 8 kids. When 1 goes away, it's only 7. 7's a breeze. I said, why? I said, because God gave me the energy for 8, because he gave me 8 kids. And so God gives us the energy depending on the amount of children that he gives us. So he's going to give us a child, he's going to give you the energy to take care of that child. The reason why God made us be sexually just reversed, and by the way, and it's not from a bad place, right? It's because guys create love, wanting to love Men want to have sex so they can love, and women want to love and then they want sex, right? So it's really become at it from two different ways. But the reason is a very simple reason. You see, what happens, the Torah says like this: a man and woman get married. So the woman is supposed to go ahead and is supposed to kind of like seduce her husband, like kind of like pretty herself in front of her husband, because she knows that he wants to have sex. And then the guy says, "Oh my gosh, my wife wants me to have sex with her. Great, let's go." So sex at that point in time becomes an act of giving as opposed to an act of taking. Right? You see, what happens is we're supposed to become like God. Is God a giver or a taker? He's a giver. So how does he create us as a giver? So we have to emulate God. We have to, right? We have to act like God. So God is a giver. He wants us to be a giver. He says, so if we take sex as a way of taking rather than of giving, right? So then we're not being godly. And since this is the closest place and we could become God-like, right? Which is an act of creating a child, is the closest that we can ever be to being God. Right? We're actually creating a child. God says, I want to make sure that it comes as an act of giving, not as an act of taking. And I actually had a couple that I set up. Actually, it was interesting. The girl was religious and the guy was an atheist. But they were so, like, they were meant for each other. Like, it was clear to me. And so I told the guy, I said, I have your wife. I said, but she's religious, so you can only date her if you're willing to be religious. He says, I'll pass, Rabbi. I said, okay. 3 months later, he comes back, he says, okay, Rabbi, I'm ready. I said, you're a smart man, and they are. Both of them are brilliant. And what happened was, so I said, but remember, you're going to have to date Orthodox, right? So I said, okay, right? And if date Orthodox, right? So he said, what does that mean? So I said, well, no touching, right? I mean, it's been, right? Like, it's like, it's the first time you're going to kiss her is when you're married. He says, okay, I'll try this. They go out, and it was just perfect. I mean, it was like, just like right on. And so what happened was, they were dating for a couple months, and they came to my house for Shabbos, and and it was Friday night. They said, Rabbi, can we talk with you? So I said, sure. So he says, I'm having a really tough time with this premarital sex thing. Like, it's just not really not working for me. He says, can you explain me why I'm supposed to wait till I get married? I said, I'm going to explain it to you now. I said, sex is the most powerful thing that we have. Act of creating, the sex drive is the most powerful drive. He says, and what happens is, I said, why do you want to have sex now? So kudos to him, he blushed. So I said, okay. Let me tell you why you want to have sex. He says, okay. I said, because it feels good. So he says, okay, let's go with that. So I said, okay. I said, so if you have sex now, you're doing it because you're taking. Right? Because it feels good. So it's an act of taking. I said, what is it supposed to be? An act of giving. I said, so you're going to learn the wrong thing. I said, so what you have to do is you first have to get married, right? And then you can give it for the right reasons. So he said, okay, Rabbi, that makes sense. And kudos to him. It's amazing. He waited till...
Do the marriage the following day or something?
It's one of the reasons Orthodox don't have long engagements, by the way. Okay, but no. So he did not, but kudos to him. Really, I tip my hat. Right? So, like this. Okay, so that's really where it comes from. And that's why God made it like this, is that what happens is, at the end of the day, it turns into an act of giving and not an act of taking. And it forces you to stop and to think about the other person rather than about yourself. Right? So it becomes an act of giving rather than an act of taking. So now, to your husband shall you desire. What does that mean? What does a woman want?
It's 3 A's.
3 A's. What are the 3 A's?
Affection, attention,
appreciation. Right? Okay, attention, right? Okay, I call them attention, affection, appreciation. Okay, those are the three. Okay? Right? Those are the three A's. That's what a woman wants. Attention, affection, appreciation. That means she will desire from her husband these three things. And he shall rule over you. What does it mean, and he shall rule over you? What is the one thing that a man wants? What is the one thing that a man wants? But again, understand. But he wants that wife to feel connected. Why? What does a one thing a man needs from her husband?
Feel needed.
Respect.
Respect. There's a famous comedian that says he needs RESPECT. He needs respect. That's what it means. V'hu yim shabach, he shall rule over you. And that's why we say a woman has the power to take a king and make him into a pauper, or to make a pauper and make him into a king.
Oh, because they
it
control
say
their
he
self-esteem.
Right.
Why does it say he will rule over her?
And he will rule, meaning that, what does he need? Who yim shalbach? He needs to be respected. And now I'm going to explain to you why. And I'm going to explain to you where this all comes from, and it will all be just the most amazing thing. Yeah, somebody just put on the on Facebook Live the Raji Dangerfield, but okay. Thank you for the source. Okay. Now let me explain to you why. Why does a woman always need attention, affection, appreciation? Right? You wake up in the morning and before you leave for work, what do you tell your wife? I love you. She calls you in the middle of the day, and what does she say? Do you still love me? You said, I told you in the morning I love you. Why do you think it's changed? And then you come home at night, and what does your wife say? Do you still love me? I said, I told you in the morning, I told you in the afternoon, I still love you. You see, in Mars, where men are from, we're Martians, if I say I love you, it means I love you. And it means I love you, and if I no longer love you, I will tell you I no longer love you. But once I said it to you, it goes on for a long time until I say I no longer love you. That's how we speak in Mars. If a guy doesn't like somebody, what does he say to him?
I don't like you.
I don't like you. And if he likes him, I like you. That's it. Then we're friends. We don't see each other for 10 years, but we're still friends.
Yeah.
Right? Okay? Now, in Venus, where women are from, it doesn't work like that. Because in Venus, they'll never say what they want. Why? Because if you love me, you really know what I want. Okay? Right? Do you follow? So, okay, in Venus, they never tell you what they want. In Venus,
they expect you to know it.
They expect you to know it. But they expect you to know it just because you love them. So therefore, they won't tell you what they want. And if they say something, really doesn't mean what they say means something else. It's very fascinating. But now I'm going to explain to you why women need attention, affection, appreciation, and why men need respect. Every woman is a descendant of Eve's soul. And every male is a descendant of Adam's soul. Adam says, if woman would have respected me, she wouldn't have given me to eat from the tree of knowledge. So therefore, every man is just worried in the back of his mind, deep down in his subconscious, that maybe she's going to feed me from the tree. How do I know that she's not going to feed me from the tree? If she respects me. She respects me. She won't give me to eat from the tree. So every man needs to be respected. Every woman is a descendant of Eve's soul. And what does Eve feel? I gave my husband to eat from the tree. I killed him. What should he really be doing?
Going to see another woman?
Right, should be getting rid of me. So how does a woman feel comfortable that her husband is not going to get rid of her? By constantly being told by her husband that he loves her. So she's insecure. Why is she insecure? Because she's a descendant of Eve.
Like she's still feeling.
She's still feeling that guilt of why I gave him to eat. So she needs a constant reinforcement of attention, affection, and appreciation. So even if my husband told me in the morning he loves me, but maybe now he doesn't. Why? Because now he's going to throw me out. And now you understand the verse.
I still cannot connect. He shall rule over.
Okay, one second. So now let's read the verse again. To the woman he said, I'll then greatly increase your suffering in the childbearing and pain shall you bear children. Yet your craving shall be for your husband. What does that mean? I need attention, affection, and appreciation. Why? Because, why? I need to know that you're not going to get rid of me. Why?
Because I came from the tree.
Because I gave you to eat from the tree. And therefore, by all rights, you should have thrown me out.
What is the Hebrew translation? Because sometimes when you do the Hebrew translation, it has a different vibe.
Right. So it's ve'el ishech, to your husband, to shukesech shall be your desire. Meaning that you need to hear from him a constant reminder that I love you.
What else could the second part of that sentence mean? He shall rule over you.
Nevahu yim shabach means that he shall rule over you. And what does that mean? It means that he needs to be respected. Right? And because he knows if he's respected, that she's not gonna stab him in the back.
So this ruling over her, it means that literally people would understand that his word is the last word.
Okay, so let me explain to you. Okay, let me explain to you about a husband and wife now. Now that you understand where their souls come from, right, which is all important, right? Because that's the underlying basis of this whole.
Who is the man of the house?
Oh, who's the man of the house? Okay, so let me explain to you like this. Who here has ever done dancing?
What?
Dancing.
Dancing?
Dancing.
Yeah.
Okay, in a ballroom dancing, when you have two people dancing, what happens? You always have one that leads, and you always have one that follows. What happens if you have two people that lead? Doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Conflict. So a husband and wife, let me ask you a question like this. What's more important, a pilot or a navigator? Much more important, a pilot or a navigator? Pilot. Can I ask you a question, Mr. Pilot?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. If you take off and you don't have a navigator, how are you going to land?
You will crash.
Or where are you going to land? Really, I guess my question. If you don't have a navigator, where are you going to land?
In the ocean.
Right? What happens?
You lost.
But the plane at least has some functions. The pilot can fly it. I mean, navigator can just sit there
and tell you where you're going.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Right? But so go ahead. What were you going to say, Peter?
No, I don't want to argue.
No, you can argue. That's okay.
I come from the school, we don't need the navigators.
How's that working for you?
He's here.
Down my way back.
No, right. No. So the answer is because you navigate yourself. You do both. It's really right. But if you had no navigation, if you had no navigational skills, you couldn't get anywhere. Right. That's my point. You know, it's so funny. My girls have a very poor sense of direction. All my girls in my house. So they come by it honestly. Before they get their driver's license, before I let them get their driver's license, I make them pass a MapQuest test on how to get, like from my house, just anywhere. Right. Right. It's just that's like the prerequisite. Okay, you got to know where you're going. You got to figure out. I can't tell you how many. It's funny. The girls' high school here, Missouri High School. And they bring in teaching interns every year. And my job is to hang out, teach the girls, and hang out with them. I can't tell you how many phone calls I get. Hi, Rabbi. I'm driving on the road, and I don't know how to get back home. What should I do? That's what happens. And so I said, okay, which road are you driving on? And they said 30. I said, you're going east or west? I don't know. And I kid you not. This is not a joke.
I wouldn't either unless
this is not a joke. So right. So I said to them, okay. I said, what street are you passing? So they tell me, a crossroad. So I said, okay. I waited a minute. I said, what's the next street? I tell my next one, so now once they give me the two streets, I already know which way they're heading.
Yeah,
Right, okay, right. Because they're going east to west or they're going west to east. Okay, so okay. It's okay. So take your next exit. Now that I know where we are, okay, right? So take the next exit, and then I could kind of try to talk them through it. You know, it's so funny. I'll pull up my phone up. I'll pull up, like, I don't know how people did it before Google Maps, but I kind of pull it up and I talk them through. Okay, you'll be passing by Papa John's on the next corner. Turn it. It's like, now. By the way, my children have my daughters have an uncanny knack of finding all the shopping places. So all I need to do is that actually, they don't say turn left, on Midway. They turn left at Walmart. Okay, right? Okay, and then you turn right on the Ross's. You know what I'm saying? And then, right, then you go to Burlington Coat Factory. Okay, have to walk them through. It's kind of like the funniest thing, but that's how it is, right? So women in my house they come directionally challenged. Right, that's how it is. So before they get the car keys, and we need to teach them how to tell directions. Right. So you have. That's what we're saying. So we have. Right. Okay, teacher will over you. So what's more important, a pilot or an navigator? The answer is it's both. And in reality, a husband and a wife really have both those jobs. Inside the home, the woman is the pilot and the husband is the navigator. Outside the home, the husband's the pilot and the woman's the navigator. Okay? They both share the jobs, but they flip depending on which domain they are.
So it's 50-50?
It's more, no, not 50-50. Depends how much you're inside, depends how much you're outside. Right? But certainly the more important job is inside the home, is running the home.
Right.
Right? Because that's producing your next generation of children. Right? That's right. So therefore, you really, it's not a question of more or less, it's who takes the lead. Right? What is it? And why is that? And the answer is very simple. Right? Inside the home, the woman is the one who is generally, I'm saying general now, I'm not saying every, is that generally that a woman inside the home, right, she is somebody who, right, she's built to be more compassionate and softer on the children, which is very important, right? So the husband sort of is more the global picture, right? He's one that has the Torah to be able to, right, to what are the Torah values. Outside the home, the husband is the pilot. Right, but the woman is the navigator to make sure that we don't stray off course, right, and get pulled out of the way. But the idea is that v'hu yim shabach, that he should rule over you, means that you have to have respect. And a husband means respect really needs both ways. Both these things need both ways. Right, a husband needs attention, affection, appreciation. But if a woman doesn't have attention, affection, appreciation, it's over. If a guy doesn't have respect, it's over. Sure. Right, but both things need to go both ways. But if you understand, it comes from the idea of Adam and Eve, right? Of Adam and Eve and the sin in the garden, right? That story, this story here, teaches us, right, the way the relationship has to go. A woman needs attention, affection, appreciation. Why? Because from her, right? Because from her, right, that attention, affection, appreciation is that because she gave man to eat. So therefore, she's always feeling that maybe now he'll get rid of me. So she just needs a constant reminders. Husband needs to be respected because Adam says if a woman really respected me, she wouldn't have given me to eat. So now, with this explanation, I got up and I danced because I finally understood it. Right? I never got it. It never, like it was something that was I didn't understand. Right? But then this I thought was such a beautiful explanation.
So
Yes.
When they say a woman needs security, basically she needs the AAA. Is that what security means?
Yeah, for her, yes. It means security that my husband's not going to get rid of me. I'll stick by him through thick and thin, but I need to know that he's going to take care of me. That we're together.
Is that why when the husband cheats on the wife, the woman says, "You know what? That's it. The game is over."
Yeah, because it's not.
He
because he's leaving me. Right? It's a.
For her mind, he's leaving me.
Right.
But some woman put up with this garbage.
It's way complicated. There's a lot to talk about. Marriages are much more complex than this. I'm just we can't boil it down to this. But this is the idea, right? So next week we'll go through the 10 curses. Actually, what are the 10 curses? Everyone have a wonderful evening. We look forward to seeing everybody same bat time, same bat station. This Shabbat, I will not be at home. And please remember that for Pesach, we would love you to all come join us. So let me know what meals you can join us. Now this Shabbat I'm not home.
You're not home the next week?
No. Next week, yeah.